The perfect battlefield. This is part 2 of my last video where I talked about the setting, maps and game modes. I recommend you to check it out in order to get a better overview about the stuff I'll be talking about now. Today, we'll take a closer look to classes and gameplay. I got a lot of stuff to tell and something quite important for you to keep in mind. Battlefield has a multiplayer that's made for casuals. Immersion and authenticity is an important point, but fair gameplay and fun is always in first place. Therefore, I swear to God, if I see anybody writing a comment starting with "but in real life I'm gonna" and personally until you that your own won't even want to see you anymore. Cause in real life, you can't run with unlimited stamina with your fat ass. In real life, you're too sloppy for a perfect reload. In real life, you have trash aim. In real life, you can do more than just run, crouch and lay. In real life, you don't know how the battlefield actually looks like. And in real life, you're probably dead before you're in the combat zone. I really got zero patience for that. I know such dumb comments are technically good and push the algorithm, but otherwise, I'm gonna lose some brain cells when I see comments which have been already answered or should be clear right from the beginning, like in my last video. But in the end, it's about you, if you'll spare me or enjoy my suffering. Now, enough swearing, let's get started. I could actually end the video here and say that the core elements, which the majority values, could be described with one sentence. Gameplay mechanics from Battlefield 4, combined with immersion of Battlefield 1 and movement from Battlefield 5. That's the picture the majority of the Battlefield community has in their mind. And I'm part of it, I agree. But this video is meant to show my view of the perfect battlefield, which means that I'll open my spectrum and take ideas and inputs that I saw elsewhere. This constellation though gives a great input, but let's refine it a little bit. Let's start with the movement. Battlefield 5 has the best movement in the series. Point. It's fluent, it's dynamic, and it's fast. But at the same time, it's a bit stale. I always have the feeling that my soldier has like magnetic boots, which makes jumping and especially climbing very slow. This should be faster in my opinion. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want movement where I'm about to puke after playing for 10 seconds. I just want everything to be more fluently. My inspiration to fix the problem comes from Far Cry 5, 6 and New Dawn, more accurately. If you ever played the new Far Cry games, you might have seen that climbing over obstacles and cliffs is very smooth and decent in terms of speed. From all FPS that I played, I would go and use the latest Far Cry movement and mechanics, in this case from Far Cry 6, and include the additional mechanics from Battlefield 5, like crouching on your back, small dolphin dive, running with your head down, jumping through windows and roll after landing. Because Far Cry 6 comes with a very important mechanic. Now, movement speed was always a difficult topic in the Battlefield community. The veterans prefer it slow, because, you know, it's more realistic, the soldiers carry at least 60 kilograms of equipment, so therefore movement mustn't be fast. I'm sorry, but movement has to be fast, because we need to find a way to counter campers. Otherwise, the runs are gonna end by time instead of tickets, because nobody is running on the f***ing map. But on the other hand, we don't want movement for cracked people either. So my compromise is to have fast movement, but with stamina. Just like in Far Cry 6, where your character starts to jog instead of run when he used all his stamina. So you can act quickly when you're in line of sight of an enemy in CQC, and you're slow enough to be targeted by snipers on distance. So basically, the movement speed, climb and slide mechanics from Far Cry 6 mixed with mechanics from Battlefield 5 and combined with running sideways from the finals would be, in my opinion, the perfect movement. Tactical sprint, yeah, is not really a must-have in my opinion. I mean, it always worked without it back in the day, and leaning behind cover is welcome, but should cause more recoil while shooting. Not the other way around, not like in Call of Duty. Next is gameplay. We'll start with the core elements. First of all, map gameplay. We need destruction, of course. It should be at least as detailed as in the finals. To counter that, we need back the building mechanics from Battlefield 5. It's authentic and can be really useful, especially with defense guns. Regular doors should be as interactive as in Call of Duty, that you can open it slowly and lock them from one side. Levolution or other interactive stuff that can change the battlefield is also a must. Not just collapsible buildings and tornadoes. Stuff like a natural earthquake which creates new vertical areas, a volcano eruption that sets everything on fire, a dam that we players can blow up and flood a whole city, or oil fields we can light up to sabotage air-ground combat. The more we can interact, the better it is. Then, squad gameplay. Squad revives is a must-have. Plus, I would upgrade the revive mechanics with a drag fallen behind cover feature, like in squad. I would overall make interactions between squad and teammates more interactive, like adding mechanics where you can boost your mates over a high wall, or an interactive callout system, like if your teammate is with you but has no ammo for his gun and you're not a support player, he can ask for it and you could like hold down a button for 2 seconds while looking at him. If you both have the same gun, you would sacrifice one magazine in your inventory and toss it over to him. In terms of putting marks on the map, I wouldn't implement 3D spotting. That's Recon's job, so everyone else should do 2D spotting, like back in Battlefield 5. Next point, reinforcement system, also from Battlefield 5, with score streaks that you earn together as a squad, like a care package, various artillery barrage in terms of smoke, gas, shrapnel, whatever you like, UAVs, cruise missiles, infantry package like a flamethrower kit or a juggernaut as an alternative for elite classes. Maybe, just maybe, an AI squad that walks along with you, a gunship, or should I say an AC-130 that functions as a respawn point as well, and maybe as the highest resource, a tactical nuke. The long mist commander mode is also welcome, but with a little upgrade combined with the reinforcement system. That the orders you execute gives you and the commander extra points which he can use to send even more resources himself. Next up, infantry gameplay. I'll first talk about classes. My battlefield features 5 classes, perfect for 5-player squads, like I mentioned last time. First is Assault. These guys are the spearhead of every squad, the perfect squad leader, equipped with ARs for mid and long range and shotguns for CQC. The Assault is, like I said, meant to be the one who's right on the front. Therefore, they need to be agile and endure, and that right there is their class ability. Every class would have a specific ability that fits to their role. No, don't worry, it's no specialists. The ability of Assault would just be an increased stamina. They're also specialized for explosives, having grenade launchers as their first gadget, and as their second gadget they can use explosives with timers, C4 or different items for room cleaning like flashbangs, snapshots, tear and poisonous gas. As those ones going in first, they could also choose a crowbar to crack doors silently, or stims to heal themselves quicker. Second is literally the heart of every team, the medic, the opposite of the brutal assault, equipped with ARs for distance and SMGs for CQC. Medic's class ability is a defibrillate, where he can revive faster all his teammates. His first gadget would be bandages, first aid crates, the regular healing stuff. And as their second gadget, they can use grenade launchers with smoke, phosphorus or incendiary to cover the enemy's line of sight and block paths and doorways. Another cool gadget would be something like a net that he can use to drag down friendlies to his position. Otherwise, he can use other stuff like tripwires, claymores or stuns. Third is Engineer, the nightmare of every vehicle. He's equipped with SMGs for CQC and DMRs/battle rifles for distance. His class ability would be the vehicle repair tool. His first gadget are rocket launchers against tanks and air vehicles. Second gadgets would be EMP devices as grenades, remote charges and mines, which disorients vehicles' electronics, so basically the HUD of the drivers. Other than that, he also has C4, explosive mines, AT grenades, gun turrets, thermite charges and a hacking device to sabotage enemy electronical equipment. Number 4 is Support. heavily armed with LMGs and MMGs for distance, shotguns and a riot shield with pistol for CQC. Yes, you heard right. I separated the MGs, because in my opinion, strong MGs like the MG3 should have such a heavy recoil that you'd be forced to shoot with burst while aiming down sight or use the bipod. Otherwise you'd complain about balance issues. LMGs would act normally, like a heavy AR. His class ability is building speed and the ability to build various defense guns, like AT and AA guns, armored 50 cal MGs, and ziplines. As a support player, he's most effective with teammates, and that reflects with his gadgets. First gadget is about ammo bags and crates for infantry, or blue smoke for choppers, which automatically refills ammo and even repairs them by around 30 to 40 health if they land on it. Second gadget would be various support and defense elements like mortars with various projectiles, explosive, incendiary, gas, flares, etc. Portable shields. How do you call it? Spike tapes? Do you call it spike tapes? Shock mines, AP mines, a trophy system, or claymores. And last but not least, Recon, equipped with sniper rifles, AT rifles, and DMRs. He is the eye of the team. His class ability is 3D spotting, only for his squad and only one enemy at once. In order to show multiple enemy positions to all his team, he has to use a flare gun, binoculars, recon drones, or other electronical devices that showcase enemy position. This is his first gadget. Second gadget would be stuff like heartbeat sensors, cameras, claymores, spawn beacons, dummies, and a grappling hook. The classes are all formed the same. They all have a primary, a secondary, one melee weapon, one throwable, 2 gadgets, and 3 perks. Talking about perks. In Battlefield 5, the perks were connected to the classes and couldn't be mixed together. In Battlefield 1, however, you could mix different perks together. In my Battlefield, I would do it like it in Battlefield 1, but with one big difference. I would connect the perks to the soldiers' outfits. I saw this in Far Cry 6, that different cloth pieces would come with a perk. One for boots, one for trousers or pants, one for the upper body, one for the hands, and one for the headgear. Now I would take this system and implement it to my Battlefield, but with the simple gear from Battlefield 5. So only one perk for the pants, one perk for the torso, and one perk for headgear, which fits the role of the different classes. For example, the assault player has assassin trousers that makes his footsteps silent. Perfect if he wants to sneak to a door. The first aid torso, which allows him to revive one teammate before he needs to refill it by a medic crate. And the light headgear with night vision. Recon, for example, would have pants that make him crouch faster, a ghillie suit which covers his firing direction when he shoots with suppressors, like in Battlefield 5, and a covered helmet that keeps him undetected on radar. Now I know what you think. Wouldn't there be any pay-to-win options with the DLCs or Season Pass when the new skins are implemented? No, as long as the skins are the only difference, it's all good. The night goggles, for example, would look like this as a default version on both sides. And this would be a different skin, but with the exact same ability. Same goes for new content. Let's say we get the ballistic helmet with integrated gas mask. This would be the regular skin everyone would get right from the beginning, and this would be just another skin that people can buy. Cool thing is, it's authentic and you recognize their perks by seeing your mates or enemies' skins. Another cool thing is first-person executions. I'm not a fan of third-person versions. It's more immersive if it happens from the player's perspective. I would go further and upgrade it with quick time events, which would make a 1v1 melee fight very intense. Talking about fights, we need a decent TTK and overall similar gunplay mechanics from Battlefield 5. So no stupid sweet spot mechanic, no f***ing random bullet deviation, decent recoil, decent sniper flinch, and decent suppression, which only blurs your screen. Gun customization would be the exact same from Modern Warfare 2019. You have so many customization options. It's not complicated and overfilled like in Modern Warfare 2, and not too basic. But because we're fighting as a regular soldier, I wouldn't allow to put 10 options per each loadout. I would decrease it to 8 options in total, which means that you either pick 5 options for the primary and 3 for secondary, or 4 for primary and 4 for secondary, or 5 for secondary and only 3 for primary. In terms of gun skins, I would prefer just different colors and camouflage that you can earn by grinding. So no fancy skins like a rocket, for example. And I would put in as many guns as possible. Doesn't matter if they look and play all the same, like the M4, M4 carbine, M16, AR-15, or the AKs with the AK-47, AK-74, AKU, RPK, AK-15, doesn't matter. I would bring them in, and if they just might be an upgraded version, I would implement it as a variant. I would also implement various guns that have not seen a lot of screen time, like the ARX-160, the MPT-76, or the STG-W57. And even older guns that are still being used in the world, like the Mosin Nagant, or the PPSH-41, and the Matson, for example. We can never have too many guns. Shit, that's probably the most American thing I ever said. And the throwables, so regular frags, mini grenades, smoke, semtex, incendiary, etc., except for throwing knives, would be the only equipment that you can refill from stationary ammo crates on the objectives and spawn points. Otherwise, you'd face an endless grenade spam in CQC. Next, we have vehicle gameplay. All vehicles would have a customization option where you can upgrade and tune your vehicle by choice. So similar to Battlefield 5's customization, but with one big difference. Instead of bringing back the skill tree, I would rather use a similar version of the Pick 10 system from Call of Duty, attention, Ghosts. If you ever played Ghosts, you know that the perks you can pick cost different by how deadly or useful they are. Which means that you could pick 10 perks, each one that cost you 1 point, or only 2 perks that cost you 5 points. Now I would use this on the vehicles. Like if you want to increase the reload speed of your tank, it would cost you 1 point. If you pick better armored tracks in order to prevent critical damage, it would cost you 2 points. And replacing the automatic machine gun used by the second gunner with an AA missile launcher, for example, it would cost you 3 points. You would have various customization to create your own vehicle, and I mean every vehicle, not just jets, choppers, tanks and boats, but even transport vehicles, except for quads and motorbikes. Let's take a look at the Humvee, for example. You can customize the armor, like make it more resistant against explosives, upgrade the tires to dodge the spike tapes of the support player, and upgrade the engine to drive even faster. You could change the gunner seat, like replace the 50 cal with a Mark 19 grenade launcher, or a guided missile launcher, or a minigun, or spend more points to turn it into a turret which protects the gunner from the enemy fire and also protects all passengers from a gas barrage. Or remove the gunner seat completely, which makes the vehicle even faster and more agile. And if you want to go full support, you could change your vehicle into a moving spawn beacon, ammo or medic crate, where everyone can spawn on it or pick up stuff from the back of your Humvee. With transport trucks, you could even refill ammo of the tanks if you drive to them. And yes, this means that reloading every active and passive guns of your vehicles, as well as repairing to full health, you'd be forced to drive to a station. Critical damage like destroyed engines or tracks can be repaired by the drivers from the inside, and the rest is up to an engineer if he decides to come by and repair you. I know many people don't like this system, but this forces every camper to move frequently. Ground vehicles that stay more than 3 minutes at one specific position would also be permanently spotted until they move. In game modes like Operations, that I mentioned last time, camping tanks on the attacker team is everything but beneficial for them. The earlier they die, the faster somebody else can take the tank and lead the team to victory. Talking about teams, all vehicles are faction related. And if you watch my last video, you know that I said I would create only 2 coalitions with multiple countries in it. That's because if we have multiple factions separated as countries, you wouldn't have balanced teams because not every country has a wide arsenal. Many even import arms from other countries. That's why coalitions make more sense. For example, if the US troops are on a map, they would only have the M1 Abrams as their main battle tank. But when the story involves Germany and France as well, as a coalition, you could also spawn in with a Leopard 2 or a Leclerc. If the time comes to embark from a tank, an air vehicle or a ship, you can still fight effectively within loadout that you can customize as well. Class ability would be the repair tool. For the primary, you can choose between the AR, SMG and DMR. There you can only choose 4 attachments in total. Then you have a regular secondary, a throwable, a melee, and 2 gadgets. In terms of gadgets, you can choose between the multiple secondary gadgets of the engineer and support class. And the perks would be fixed, depending on what you drive. If you're a tanker, for example, you'll probably have something that lets you carry 1 additional item of your gadgets for the torso, and if you're a pilot, you'd have a parachute. And by the way, yes, parachutes wouldn't be available for everyone, because that would make vertical fights more intense and immersive, and dropping out of a chopper would look less like a bird having diarrhea. And now remains only one question: immersion. How immersive can this Battlefield game be with these coalition factions in combination with a season pass or DLC? Well, that's the question for the last part. In part 3, I will be talking about how I fixed this issue. How you could earn a lot of money after launch and keep the immersion at the same time. This would not only answer the question about my video, but overall how DICE and everyone else who takes their game serious can find balance between immersion and post-launch updates. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and especially subscribe if you'd like to watch part 3. Thank you for listening, I'll see you in the next video.